Waltz along with Robin Duvall back in downtown Spokane. The women's portion of the downtown Criterium has finished, and Jessica Greco with a very strong last lap, including that sprint down post and on to Spokane Falls, wins first place. Sherry Rogers chasing her, gets second. Linda Brenneman finishes third, but Robin, she takes away $500 for winning the fastest hot lap.
Linda worked very, very hard in this race today. She was aggressive. She was making things happen. I think she rode a great race. Jessica Greco and Sherry were both very, very active.
Unfortunately, there was an injury. Lori Younger went down, and you can see her being helped into the ambulance right now. And we'll try to get an update on her injury. Jessica Greco won this downtown Criterium, and she is visiting right now with a public address announcer, Mike Miles. Let's listen in.
I don't know how it got on there, but well, you rode very aggressively in the Manitou Park Criterium, placed well there yesterday, or excuse me, on Friday. How'd you feel yesterday?
Well, climbing's definitely not my strong point. I've been trying to work on it, so I just wanted to do as good as I could.
And then, how did that take a toll on your legs when you showed up for today?
Well, my legs were a little stiff today, but I kind of rode into it.
And so with Linda Brenneman in the lead, tell me a little bit about some of your tactics as you went into today's race to take this stage.
Well, through the sprints during the race, I couldn't come around Linda in through here. I kept on trying to move through the turn and gain my acceleration through the turn, but it wasn't working. I just couldn't come around her. So I decided that I wanted to be through the last turn first, no matter what I had to do.
Right, we were watching you on the TV now, and so tell me a little bit about what did you just dice in front of everybody to make that last turn out in the lead?
Well, Linda went pretty hard on the first part of the last lap, and then Lisa Goldsmith came ahead to, I guess, to lead out Linda. So I just sat on Linda, and coming through this last turn, the last stretch here, I just went as hard as I could to come by.
And it paid off.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Jessica Greco, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Downtown Criterium. Again, I'll move out of the way here.
Greco, the winner of the Downtown Criterium, and maybe the future of women's cycling in the United States. She is still a youngster, and she had a great finish. We have the men's Downtown Criterium, a very exciting race. 60 laps coming your way. We'll have it for you after this timeout. Criterium, Rich Waltz, along with former U.S. team member Robin Duvall. The women's race was very exciting, as now with the men, they're underway. What's the biggest difference between, say, the women's race and the men's race?
Well, as you can see, the men's field is huge. We have 140, 150 riders out there. They're aggressive. It's going to be very action-packed.
So, a little more physicality, I guess, and when you talk about being aggressive, there's one rider that really stands out, because on Friday, being a little too aggressive might have cost him the Manitou Criterium. I'm talking about Chris Viat from Poland. That was a little bit of controversy on Friday.
Well, I feel it was a fair call. The officials saw the hooking, they saw the bump, and they called it the way it should have been.
Nate Reiss is another guy we need to look at. His specialty is not the Downtown Criterium. He's a little bit better on the open road. With this amount of riders, can he find success today?
Nate is a very, very accomplished rider. He's had some great results. He's strong. He's got a good team behind him today. We could see some action from Subaru.
Now, Chris Huber is a guy that has been here, and he has won on this course. Does that hold anything coming into this race, having experience on this track?
Huber knows the course. He's won it before. He's a great crit rider. We should watch him today.
Well, there you see the men's field is underway. The women's race was 40 laps. The men's race will be 60 laps. The winning time for the women, Jessica Greco. She won the overall, won the race, and it was Linda Brenneman who won the hot lap. She took home $500 for a time of just over a minute. What type of time will we have on a hot lap for the men's?
We've had some very fast times posted for this hot lap in the men's. We've seen, I believe the course record is about a 54:12. We will see some really aggressive riding as these teams set up for this hot lap.
In the lead right now for the men is Rob Kristoniak.
Team California.
From Team California. That's what, the state that sponsors it, or what?
I believe it's a composite team. You've got a group of really strong riders out of California that got together and decided to get up here and do the Northwest Classic.
There you see Kristoniak out on his own, and he's being followed by Peter Davis, Team SPAGO. Now here is maybe the most interesting team in the whole field. SPAGO, that's the restaurant. I know my restaurants. Is Wolfgang Puck involved in this? He's the chef from SPAGO.
Wolfgang is a bicycle enthusiast. He's been very generous. He's set out to help these people and sponsor a team, and he's picked some excellent riders to sponsor.
So for Team SPAGO, you get the good grub before you ride.
Oh, these guys are fed well.
Coming down Spokane Falls Boulevard, 57 laps to go. It's a gorgeous afternoon in downtown Spokane. Set against Riverfront Park. The first stage of this four-stage race came on Friday, the Manitou Park Criterium, and there was a little bit of controversy at the end of that. We'll see that in a second, but it is a big difference from this downtown Criterium.
Okay, here comes a hot lap.
A hot lap is coming up now, and of note, in third place right now is a man named Matt Doval. And that is Robin Doval's husband. Third place right now for Matt Doval. And if you win the hot lap in the men's competition, Robin, it's $1,000. And I know certainly it would go right in your pocket.
Absolutely. I'm all for that.
You have that money spent already?
Well, my husband has won the hot lap a few years ago. He knows how to do it. He's got the pace up. He's working hard at it. He's out in the front now.
Well, he will come by the start-finish now with some company.
Okay.
You know, Nordstrom's is right up the block, and if you win that, you could have quite a shopping spree.
They're working hard. Here again we have the first hot lap, and it will be interesting to see if this lap will be the fastest lap. The pace is, they're moving. The pace is going. Normally the first hot lap of the competition, in this 60-lap race, there are 6 hot laps. Normally the first one is the fastest. And we'll see as they come down post. You've got the field very stretched out. Looks very, very high pace. And as they make the final turn, first hot lap of this downtown Criterium. Here we go. And across with the first is Eric Rekkas of the Los Gatos Bike Club. So Rekkas, 56, 58. 56-58. That's the first hot lap time. You have to be the fastest among the 6 laps to qualify for the $1,000. We talked about the Manitou race, and on Friday it was the first of the 4 stages. Much different course, say, than a downtown Criterium. Very, very difficult course. The Manitou Criterium course is very technical. There's a long hill. It's rough pavement. You never get a rest. You're constantly working, either battling through the corners or battling the long uphill stretch. It's very, very technical race. On Friday, this was the Manitou Criterium. We're here with the downtown Criterium. Of course, on Monday, tomorrow, things finish up and wrap up with the Wild Rose Prairie Ride. Greg Oravec was the winner of this Manitou Criterium. Oravec was in the lead most of the way in the last few laps, but he had a lot of pressure from Chris Viat, and we'll see if we can capture this controversial bump. You're going to see at the end of this race, Oravec in the lead as they come down, and then Chris Viat bumping him, and Viat actually crossed the finish line first. They looked at the film, they talked to the officials, and they went back and awarded Oravec the championship of the Manitou Criterium. Viat took second, and Peter Davis took third. Tell me about this finish as it came up. Is that common in bicycling to have a bump at the end? It has happened. You sometimes run into a position where you're edging out your opponent behind you, and it looks like Viat, excuse me, did bump Orovitz, and the call was a good one.
Yeah, you saw that bump just before the finish of the race. So Orovitz got Manitou. Unfortunately for Greg Orovitz, after putting himself in a great position during this competition by winning the first stage, he didn't last in the Mount Spokane race, and that was yesterday. Orovitz dropped out along with Alexi Grewal, two pretty big names that just couldn't finish. This really is a real test of endurance and strength rather than sprinting.
Very, very difficult race. Long, hot day. Those riders were out there for over 5 hours. It is a race of attrition, really.
How much does, strategy in a downtown race involves a pack and chase and all of that and turns. Here I would suspect taking in water, when do you take a drink, or when do you eat, that has to have a lot to do with it.
Feed zone is very important. If you miss the feed, your chances of surviving are 0.
Yeah, you can see the riders getting water on that Mount Spokane raid. Mike Engelman won that Mount Spokane stage. Esteban Frago was second, and Jeff Evanshine, a youngster that we'll talk about in a while, took third. We have 51 laps to go in the men's downtown Criterium. We have had one hot lap so far, and a time of 56:58. That was turned in by Eric Rekkas of the Los Gatos Bike Club.
The pack has slowed down a little bit. It appears that they're bunched up now. They're all sitting back. I don't see a lot of action happening yet.
And they come down Spokane Falls Boulevard, right down to the start-finish. Taking the lead as we head to break, Gary Mulder from Subaru Montgomery is in the lead. 50 laps to go in this men's downtown Criterium. We'll return after this. Back in downtown Spokane, and
43.
Out front in the race right now is Matt Johnson from Granny's. Johnson out front. We have a hot lap coming up next lap around, and Johnson is out front. 44 laps left in this race, the men's downtown Criterium. You can see Johnson weaving his way through the course, out on his own. We're joined today by Robin Duvall, a former member of the U.S. women's cycling team, and this event really has drawn a lot of attention, not only to the state of Washington, but to Spokane in particular.
This is a great race to spectate. The course is great. The corners are fast. It's a really neat race to watch. These racers love to come back year after year because they enjoy the courses so much.
There you see Matt Johnson as he comes down by the start-finish. You hear that bell in the background. That signifies a hot lap. Now, if you're not familiar and you've just joined us, a hot lap is a timed lap during this race, and there are 43 laps left in this race. Now, they have 6 hot laps during the race. The fastest time in the hot lap of all 6 will get a $1,000 check at the end of the race, and that is not bad at all. Johnson out in front, and he's got a man trailing him. It looks like Peter Gylling of SPAGO's.
We have a little teamwork going on. The SPAGO team is in front. They're blocking the field. They've got a rider off. They're hoping that maybe their rider off the front might come up with a faster time than the last.
Eric Rekkas from the Los Gatos Bike Club had the first hot lap time. It was 56:58. So Johnson will try to beat it.
Looks like,
and he is joined there by Peter Gylling of SPAGO. So Johnson and Gylling, and it's Gylling who comes by 1:01.87. So he doesn't even come close. He's a good 5 seconds off that first hot lap by Eric Rekkas. And Robin Duvall, as you said at the outset of the broadcast, is held true to form, that the early hot laps are always better than the late hot laps.
seem to be faster.
So Gylling at 1:01 gets the second of the hot laps. And we turn our attention to a man that has been very busy this week. Gino Lysecki is the race coordinator for the Northwest Cycling Classic. We talked to him about preparation for the downtown Criterium.
Downtown's ready. We're ready. It should be really a festival atmosphere down there. We've got Pig Out in the Park, the restaurant fair, happening. There's probably be 30 to 35,000 people down there, as well as our race. It'll start at 8 o'clock in the morning with the citizens race, going till about, our last race goes off at 4:30. So it should be a nice day downtown. Again, the weather's supposed to hold all weekend, so very important for us on weather, especially in a Criterium course. It's very fast, very flat downtown. The average speeds will, in the 1-2 pros, will be anywhere from 35 miles an hour up to 40. So that's cooking. You can't do a car. You can't go that fast around a car. So,
how long have you been racing and been in the cycling business?
About 10 years. We started this about 10 years ago. It's our 10th anniversary. Yeah. So this is kind of a nice thing to see happen. It's kind of evolving into a nice race. We had to cut back a little bit this year. If you look at it as a cutback, it's the 4 days. We look at it as a positive thing in that we have a race this year. Other places have canceled them. With good community support, good sponsor support, we were able to pull together an NPC race, which is National Prestige Classic for men's and women, and a U.S. Pro Points race, as well as a citizens race, Category 3 and Masters. And for us, this Masters in Cat 3 was very important, in that next year we're going to be hosting the Masters Nationals in Spokane in July. So this is a real important step for us. We didn't want this race to die. We think it's important. Usually at the end of significant races like the Olympic trials in '88 and again in '92 when we do the Masters Championships, we'll tag on a smaller version of the Northwest Classic. And I think it's important to keep this race intact. And we've got beautiful courses, great police cooperation, great community support, and our police cooperation comes from city, from county, and from the State Department. They take care of our courses. They sweep the streets even when they've been recently graveled, and make sure that everything's ready to go. So it's just been great.
We are back to racing. 40 laps left out of 60. Peter Gylling and Matt Johnson were out front last time around. Not much has changed, although they do have some folks right on their tails. You can see there, that's Gylling in the lead. You heard Gino Lysecki talk about the cooperation of the community, and Robin, I guess some people we don't talk a lot about are the policemen and the folks that are on the course, policing the course and making sure that law and order is kept up.
We have some very, very friendly policemen in this town, and it's quite noticeable in comparison to traveling to other parts of the country. The support here is fantastic. The authorities are so helpful and so friendly to the riders. It's really nice.
So do the riders take notice to that? Do they know
absolutely.
a difference between police, say, at this event as to other events in the country?
Absolutely. In places like Texas, let me tell you, most of the cyclists are not welcome. However, here in Spokane, the riders feel very welcome, and it's nice.
39 laps left in this men's downtown Criterium, and we are approaching, we think, the third hot lap of the competition. There will be 6, and so far the fastest time was the first one. Eric Rekkas, 56:58. In the lead right now as they come across. John Grochin from Specialized Bike 6. He's out of Vancouver, Washington. There seem to be a lot of folks from the Northwest, Robin, involved in this race.
We have a lot of local riders. It's really nice to see. There's a Seattle team. There's a couple people from the northern part of California. It's good to get some locals.
Downtown Spokane, Washington on a Sunday afternoon.
The pace is still very high. The riders are stretched out. They're moving fast.
There's about 125 riders in this race, and we're not specific on the number because you never really know when they start the race, because riders have to come in and sign in before they come out on the course. And many times riders will drop out and won't tell us. It is a hot lap. A hot lap. You have to beat 56:58 to qualify for the $1,000.
Now we've got Coors Light out in front working. The Coors Light team is a little short today. They lost 2 members yesterday. They don't have quite the force that they had planned, but it's possible that Chris Huber might be able to get out there and post a fast time.
Now, is teamwork important in a hot lap? We know it's important in the overall race.
Teamwork is very important. You can use your team members to help set you up. They can lead you out for the sprint.
Coming down post now, it is, boy, a very tight pack. No one has broken out. And this
SPAGO leading out.
The 3rd hot lap in the competition. You got to beat 56.58. And coming across was Mike Klaus of STEVESTON. Mike Klaus out of Richmond, British Columbia. So a Canadian with that hot lap. And we'll try to get a time on it. He did not beat that time. We'll get a time for him when we come back. You're watching the men's downtown
I race
Criterium.
bicycles for a living, so I know that wearing a helmet is very important to protect your head. But whether you're racing or just riding for fun, you should always wear a helmet.
We are back in downtown Spokane. Chris Huber and a couple of riders have made a break. You can see the 3 riders there. It's the first real significant break that we've had in the men's downtown Criterium. Huber knows this course and knows it well. On the Coors Light team, he's from Campbell, California, near Sacramento. And Huber still out front. As Robin mentioned early in the broadcast, if you're familiar with the course, especially a downtown course, you have a little bit of an advantage over the field. I guess memory, you just don't lose that in the memory banks.
Generally not. If you've raced a course a few times over and over again, you remember it, you remember what works, you remember when to sprint, and it's a big advantage to be familiar with the course.
Cesare Zamana is also in that 3-man pack along with Peter Gylling of Team SPAGO. If you look at the field, you think there's an awful lot of riders, but we have had some attrition in this race so far. Some riders have dropped out.
They're dropping. It looks like the field's gaining. I don't suspect this break will stay away.
What do you have to do to sustain a break?
For the first thing, you need to have a good gap. If you can't jump away from the field and keep a gap, then it's not going to work. A good hard jump, creating a break, will help. Then the field has a harder time trying to catch back on again. Also, you need some strong riders to work together, and if they're not working together, then the field will have a much easier time catching.
That looks like Nate Reiss out front right now. Nate, who just told us about helmet safety, is on the 4th hot lap of the competition. Here's some as Nate Reiss tries to win this hot lap. Let's visit with Nate.
So far this season, it's pretty much been a shootout between the Coors Light team and our team, Subaru Montgomery. So I'll look for this weekend to just be a shootout between the 2 of us. And then if we beat each other up a little bit too much, then some of the other teams can key off of that and maybe slide in and get a result. Alexi Grewal's back, 1984 gold medalist, and he's always tough. The odds-on favorite is a teammate of his named Michael Engelman, who did well here last year. So those will be the riders to beat, and hopefully my team can put an effort together where we can wear those guys down and maybe beat them in the long run.
Tell me about the downtown course a little bit.
Well, the downtown course is always exciting. It's flat, and it's got 4 corners, and it's smooth pavement, so it's always really fast. And this year, you've got the added element of the Pig Out in the Park Festival going on down there, so there's going to be tons of people, guaranteed to be thousands of people all the way around the course, screaming and yelling. So that really gets us charged up. And the speeds will be really high, and it should be really exciting to watch.
How about that $1,000 hot lap?
Well, yeah, that's always in the back of your mind. That's a pretty significant prize, especially just for 1 lap's work. But, of course, it's a little bit more prestigious to win the race overall. So you kind of keep the money in the back of your mind, but you're still going for the win.
That was not a hot lap, and we see Nate Reiss we just listened to him, and there he is again. He is leading this race right now as we've got 29 laps left in the men's downtown criterium. It was, however, a time bonus lap. Explain, what exactly is a time bonus lap?
Time bonus is a time deducted from your overall time, so that if you're in contention for the win, you will actually move up a spot or two, depending on how much of a bonus is awarded.
So we have had only 3 hot laps so far, and Rekkas with a 56.58 time. It's the first sub 1 minute lap that we had in both the women's and the men's downtown criterium. Neither of the other two have really come close. Peter Gylling of Santa Ana was second so far in the hot laps, 1:01. There's Nate Reiss again coming through the start-finish, 28 laps to go. And I'm sure Nate is thinking in the back of his mind, now when is that hot lap coming up? I'm running out in front. I've got a chance for a pretty good time. And if a hot lap came up, I'd be in business. But pretty soon, the pack that you see right now will be gaining on it.
We see SPAGO moving to the front. They've got Nate out in front. They're going to protect him. They're going to slow the field down. They're going to try to give him that lead that he needs.
Well, we'll wait on that 4th of 6 hot laps that should be coming up shortly. 28 laps left in this competition. And a hot lap is coming up. So you see Nate Reiss. You see him take a little peek there, trying to see if anybody has made the turn. And Reiss will come down Spokane Falls Boulevard and into a hot lap. Now, you really don't want to be by yourself when a hot lap comes up, do you?
You're not at any advantage at all being alone. You need the group. You need some people to work with to get that fast time.
Well, Reiss knows now that it's a hot lap because he just crossed the start-finish line and he heard the loudspeaker, and he will push as fast as he can. He's got to beat 56.58. The wind, which was with us early in the competition, doesn't seem to be that much of a factor right now throughout the course. And you can see Reiss heading back down, and he's about 30 seconds from coming back around and finishing this hot lap. It's the 4th of 6 hot laps. The fastest time wins $1,000, the fastest of those 6 hot laps.
The pack is very stretched out now. It doesn't look like they've gained on Nate. However, he's alone. It'll be hard for him to get the fastest time on that.
He's giving it all he can. Reiss has been out in front for about 4 laps now, and that really is draining when you're by yourself. And he will come by now. And he hits the line. We'll get a time as quickly as we can. 1 minute 00.92. So he was off by about 3 seconds. Yeah. The leading time 56.58. And Nate Reiss comes by just at a minute. But he continues to lead this race, which is now down to 26 laps. The men's downtown criterium of the Northwest Cycling Classic. You see the man out in front, he's actually leading the race. It's not Nate Reiss. It's the man on the motorcycle, and it's Greg Ritchie.
Greg, you've been doing this for years.
About 10 years now. 10 years. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I've been up this season up in Canada doing the Canadian circuit. And since it's my annual event, I came back down to Spokane, my hometown, to do this race.
Great. What do you do?
I basically do specialty driving for motorcycle during bicycle races. I hire mainly by the media or the organization itself to ride point bike, which just protects the top riders and marks the front riders. But mainly I am hired by the media to do specialty driving in amongst the field.
That's Greg Ritchie, who is leading this race, but he doesn't count. He's on the motorcycle. Nate Reiss is right behind him. Reiss is still out in front. In second place is Scott Lung of SHAKLEE out of Salt Lake City, Utah, but he's a ways back. There you see the pack emerging, and they're trying to reel Nate Reiss back in. We've got 24 laps left of this downtown criterium. Reiss has been out in front now for 5 laps, including 1 hot lap, and he clipped the line just at a minute. He was 3 seconds off the fastest hot lap, and it's almost safe to say now that Rekkas with his early time of 56.58, may get that $1,000. We have 24 laps left in the men's downtown Criterium. Stay with us. There is still a lot of racing to be done. Back in downtown Spokane, there is the pack. They are chasing Nate Reiss right now. Reiss from the Subaru Montgomery team has been out in the lead. There he is right now. He has been out front now almost for 10 laps, and that, Robin, has to be extremely taxing.
Nate is a very talented rider. He's an extremely good time trialist, and that is exactly what he's doing right now, is he's time trialing.
There's the pack coming in. Reiss is looking for some help from his team, and teamwork certainly is a big part of cycling. Nate Reiss talking about teamwork. He thinks that teamwork is very important, and it's been very important in this race for him.
Every rider has a specialty ability, be it hill climbing, sprinting, or power and speed on the flats. And what the teams will try and do is work together to use each rider's special talent in the most efficient way. So what we'll do is we'll try and, in the mountainous stages, we'll try and preserve our hill climbers' energy so that when they get to the hill, they're as fresh as possible and they can take off with the climbers. Whereas in the flat stages of the criteriums, we'll try and set up the final sprint of the race to where our sprinter is the last person on our lead-out train, and he'll rocket to the front right at the last possible second in order to use his incredible burst of speed to win the race.
Okay, great. And what are you?
Well, I'm actually an all-around rider, which means I'm competitive with the sprinters and the climbers, and I'm fairly powerful on the flats. So I'm maybe not a stellar competitor in any one of the three, but I'm pretty good in all three. So combined, I'm an all-around rider.
Nate Reiss didn't get the teamwork that he needed. He has lost his lead. Wayne Morgan from Sacramento, Form 1 VELO, is out front. And for Reiss, he kept his lead for almost 11 laps.
Well, I think we may see another SPAGO rider counterattack and take off. It's teamwork going on here. The SPAGO team planned to set Nate off, and I think we'll see some more action out of Subaru Montgomery.
That was Wayne Morgan that you saw streak by, and he's out in front of the pack. You talked about Reiss, and he was touching upon the final sprint. We have 17 laps left in this downtown criterium. It is obviously anybody's race, even though Wayne Morgan is out in front right now. Form 1 VELO. He's out of Sacramento. There you see him behind the motorcyclist. And he'll take a peek back just to see who's in hot pursuit.
The field is moving fast. You can see how stretched out they are. They serpentine across the course. That means the speed is high. They are really moving fast right now.
Why would they serpentine in that motion?
It's just the riders stretching out, and as they stretch out, they're just flowing through the course just like a river.
Wanting to keep that airflow and stay behind the guy in front of you.
Right.
17 laps before the finish of this men's race. We had the women's race earlier today. Jessica Greco won the women's stage of this downtown criterium of the Northwest Cycling Classic. Approaching 16 laps left. Wayne Morgan out of Sacramento out in front. You saw Nate Reiss keep the lead for 11 laps, and here is Morgan. It looks like his lead will last approximately 2 laps, and that really goes to show what hard work Nate Reiss put in for 11 laps.
He had teamwork. He had people with Subaru helping him out there. I don't see any of the Sacramento riders working for Wayne here.
Morgan taking a look back, 16 laps left. Is it safe to assume now that Reiss will not be a factor in the final sprint? Has he given it all he has so far?
Oh, I don't think so. It's very possible that he could rest up, sit in the pack, and be out there for that final sprint. It's anybody's race.
The pack has caught Wayne Morgan at this point in time, and with 16 laps left, this is a 60-lap race. We should be approaching our 5th hot lap of the competition. There are 6 opportunities. 56.58 from Eric Rekkas. This is a hot lap. It has been announced. And out in front, Matt Johnson from Granny's Muffins. Granny's Muffins. That's not a bad rivalry. You've got Granny's Muffins against SPAGO's restaurant. Do they serve Granny's Muffins in SPAGO's restaurant?
I doubt that very much.
56.58 is the time to beat.
It looks like the field's rolling in fast.
Matt Johnson from Granny's Muffins is out in front. He really has work to do, though. He's got to beat 56.58. That's the fastest time, the fastest hot lap so far. This is hot lap number 5. The fastest hot lap in the competition will get $1,000. And you can see Johnson taking a peek back, and he's going to make the final turn into the home stretch. Johnson finishing this hot lap. We will get the time shortly. 14 laps to go in this competition. 1:02.41. So Matt Johnson is not even close to Eric Rekkas of the Los Gatos Bike Club. Rekkas has the fastest time so far in the hot laps. Well, also from Granny's Muffins is Nan Deerdorf. She is the team soigneur for Granny's Muffins.
It's a French name, and it's spelled S-O-I-G-N-E-U-R, soigneur, and it just means caretaker in French. The massage therapist, the feeder, the person who basically takes care of the riders, anything that they need in terms of food or physical therapy, we take care of that. They'll be getting mostly fluids. It's a pretty hot day, so they're going to be wanting Gatorade and water. Since we're getting close to the end of the race, Coca-Cola diluted with water is also pretty popular for that final kick up the mountain. And if they're hungry, well, they'll probably eat bananas, fig bars, and sometimes we feed them power bars.
What do you usually do during the downtown Criterium?
The downtown Criterium, I don't really have to work too much during that. I pretty much just watch the race and enjoy it. It's more of a parade the last day. Today is much more critical that they, since it's a longer race, they're racing 100 miles today, that we take real good care of them in terms of food and fluids. But on the Criterium, they're shorter and so action-packed that there isn't really time to feed. Sometimes they rarely get to drink out of their bottles because they're going so hard the whole time.
If they wreck, do you patch them up?
Yeah, we also play team doctor, and we take care of any kind of abrasions, get them to the hospital if it's more serious, but usually it's not too serious. Usually it's just cuts and bruises.
Nan Deerdorf, the team soigneur for Granny's Muffins. She does just about everything for that team. John Frey right now from SHAKLEE, Albuquerque, New Mexico, is out front. Frey is the leader as we're down to 12 laps left in this race. Nan Deerdorf used to be a rider. Does that help to have somebody with the riding experience in that position?
It does. It helps to have a lot of experience with the sport. If you've been a racer yourself, you know exactly what is needed, and it's very good to have your support people experienced with the sport. It looks like the pack is splitting up here. We have a break now, and it looks like a very strong break, and then quite a few gaps.
And you can see the main group just hitting that turn.
John Frey out in front. This break might stick.
Frey is joined by Matt Johnson from Granny's Muffins. So Johnson and Frey on their way to a mini break. There's the second break group, and then the main pack is about 100 yards behind that foursome. But there is Frey and Johnson. John Frey of SHAKLEE and Matt Johnson from Granny's Muffins. We have 10 laps left in this downtown Criterium.
John Frey is from Albuquerque, New Mexico. He's a very strong rider. He's very experienced. He's been at it for years. He's a time trial specialist.
Albuquerque, New Mexico, a little bit of elevation when you talk about Albuquerque. Riders coming from cities with elevation, does that have an advantage when you can train in that?
I think you do find some advantage with training at elevation.
This is the final hot lap. Frey and Johnson have been caught by that mini break group. Although it looks like Frey is still out in front. Now these guys might be primed for a pretty good time on this hot lap with the group of about, what, 6 of them there.
It's possible that this group could stay away.
7 riders in that break. They need to eclipse 56.58. That is the fastest hot lap so far, and this is the final hot lap. The leader right now, Rekkas of Sunnyvale, he has $1,000 waiting for him if this group does not come up with a better time, a time better than 56.58.
It looks like the field's closing in on him. The field's working very, very hard to catch that break.
It looks like Frey keeping the lead, and it is. Frey comes by.
Chris Huber chasing.
101.96. So Rekkas wins $1,000 with the fastest hot lap. And John Frey of SHAKLEE coming up about 3 seconds short. We have 9 laps left in the downtown Criterium. The men's downtown will have the finish for you after this. Back in downtown Spokane, you're looking at Riverfront Park, a gorgeous setting for this downtown Criterium of the Northwest Cycling Classic. 6 laps left in a 60-lap race, and out in front, it's Wayne Morgan from Form 1 VELO. Wayne Morgan returns to the lead. He had it very early in the race for a very brief time. But Morgan is out front from Sacramento, California, and there is a break group, which is significant when you get down to the last 5 laps. I'm Rich Waltz, along with former U.S. team member Robin Duvall. And when we talk about hot laps, the winner of the hot lap for the men, the winner of $1,000 was Rekkas from Sunnyvale, California. There's a Duvall in the record books that still has the fastest hot lap in the cycling classic history, and that's your husband. What was his time, and when was that race?
His time was a 54:12, and that race was 1987. Excuse me, 1988. He posted that time. He was fortunate in working with another team and setting a very, very fast time.
5 laps to go. Matt Duvall won it back then. What did Matt win for winning that fastest hot lap and setting the record?
$1,000 hot lap as well.
$1,000.
Every year.
So inflation has yet to hit the sport of cycling. John Frey of SHAKLEE back in the lead as he traded spots there with Morgan. We are down to 5 laps left. 5 laps left in the downtown Criterium. Robin, as you look at this race right now, do you expect that mini break group to get reeled back in by the pack, and will it be a pack sprint like we had in the women's final?
The pack is chasing hard. However, we have some very strong riders in that first front group. Chris Huber is there. I look for Huber to try to win this race.
Huber has won this race in the past. He is out of Campbell, California. He rides for Coors Light.
His teammates are there with him. There's a very strong group in front.
Then there, for the first time, we saw the Polish rider, Chris Viat, out in front from Subaru Montgomery. Chris Viat had the lead on that lap. And with 4 laps left, you can see Viat is still out front. Oh, check that. That's Mark Southard from Team SPAGO. SPAGO's pretty well represented out in that front group.
SPAGO has some very strong Criterium riders. These riders are fast and good sprinters.
Does it come down to numbers as far as the team competition goes? If you have more guys in that break group, do you have a better chance at maybe using your teamwork to an advantage and for a victory?
Yes, I believe so. If you've got more team members up in front, you're very, very likely to be set up well for a sprint.
Team SPAGO still well represented up front, and it is still Chris Viat out front. Chris Huber is right on his tail. Those are 2 guys that when it comes down to that last lap can really turn it on, Viat and Huber.
I think so. I think we're going to see some strong sprinters here. It's going to be a field sprint from the way it looks.
This race course, as you have heard the racers talk about today, is in perfect condition. The streets of Spokane, a lot of them were resurfaced about 3 years ago for a Grand Prix race, the Spokane Grand Prix. And that really has helped the sport of cycling out in a strange kind of way, hasn't it?
The smooth pavement is a blessing to these cyclists. They really enjoy racing on nice, fast, smooth pavement. 2
laps left. We have some of the top riders in the United States riding here in the competition.
This is where they're looking now. They're looking over their shoulders. They're setting up. There's some teamwork going on.
Team SPAGO made a little bit of a run there. And we will watch it. Yeah. This race is one that could come down to just about anybody in that pack.
This is going to be a wild field sprint.
Here they come down post, and this is the key spot right here. If you're leading coming off this and into the next turn, you have an excellent chance at winning the race. Team SPAGO out front. And here they come. It is just a flat-out sprint, and it is Michael Sayers
in the leader
of Form 1 Velo is the leader. So the final lap now, Michael Sayers of Form 1 Velo, and we've got a rider down on the course. Riders down on the course. Chris Huber was in second position. Riders are down. And this is the final lap.
This is final lap.
Chris Huber has the lead coming into the final turn. And the question
Huber knows
now,
how to win this race.
Can Huber repeat?
Huber's experience.
And I think he held on to win it. David Farmer gave him a charge, and David Farmer might have won this race. It was an extremely close finish. They're not quite sure up here in the official start-finish booth.
We have a Subaru Montgomery rider placing third, it looks like.
Well, we'll have a
Could be Nate
replay.
Reiss.
We will have a replay, and we'll get a look and see exactly who got the first wheel across the line. Farmer is wearing number 2. He is a Coors Light rider out of Boulder, Colorado. Chris Huber is wearing number 5.
Both of these riders have won this race in the past.
Well, you're watching it, and let's see. It looks like Farmer.
Farmer and Reiss. Reiss is third.
Farmer, Huber, and Reiss. That's unofficial right now. Farmer, Huber, Reiss. And we'll have to wait for official confirmation up here. There's still a lot of confusion up here.
That was a really fine sprint between those three men.
David Farmer is the unofficial winner from Coors Light, Boulder, Colorado. And they have a photo finish camera here at the start finish, and I'm sure they're going to take a look at that one before they name the winner to this downtown Criterium race. Here's the finish again. You got Farmer out in the lead, and you see Huber on his left. And Nate Reiss at the top of your screen. Farmer was looking to Reiss. It almost looks like he was looking at Reiss thinking, I've got this race won, and he didn't know that Huber was on his left.
That's what it appears to be.
Well, he certainly was surprised, but it doesn't look like he was beaten.
Spectacular finish for the men's race today.
So David Farmer wins it. We'll have some words with the champion after this timeout. Along with former U.S. team member Robin Duvall, I'm Rich Waltz back in Spokane. The men's Criterium is over, and David Farmer has won it. Coors Light going 1 and 2. Farmer capturing the win. Chris Huber was right behind him and actually to his left and snuck up and almost stole a win from him. Huber also from Coors Light, and Nate Reiss from Subaru Montgomery. For Reiss, he was in the lead for 11 laps during the middle of the race, and that's not a bad job for him to lead for that length of time and still place in the top 3.
He's a very strong rider, as well as a good sprinter. He's a good time trialist and a very good hill climber. He's an all-around rider.
Chris Huber's the guy that we've talked about a lot. He has won this race before. He knows this course, and it really showed on that final stretch. Coming down post, making the turn onto Spokane Falls, he took the left rail, and he almost snuck up on David Farmer.
I don't think that David really expected him there.
Here is that replay, and you can see Farmer's out in front right now. Huber is on his left, and
he's coming up fast.
If you watch the head, you can see Farmer peek to his right. He sees Nate Reiss. I don't know if he sees Chris Huber to his left. And Farmer held on for the victory, though they did look at the photo finish. Huber takes second, and Nate Reiss got third. Nate Reiss right now is visiting with Mike Miles, the public address announcer, here for the Northwest Cycling Classic.
I just wanted to try and get that time bonus, and then I found myself out with a pretty good lead, and then just all the way around the crowd kept me going. I just want to say thanks to everyone that was cheering for me. It was really inspiring, and that's basically what kept me out there the whole time.
All right, Nate. All right, well, listen, after that much effort off the front, when the field finally did catch back up, were you burnt at all? How did you position yourself for that sprint?
Well, I was a little bit tired from the effort, but once I abandoned, I just got back in with the field and got some rest and set my mind towards winning the field sprint, and I was in perfect position to do it. Coors had their lead-out train going with 1 lap to go, and I was right there in position for the win, and as we came around the last corner, apparently there had been a crash with 2 laps to go. And everyone on the corner was yelling, rider down, right as I was about to make my move. And unfortunately, I decided to shut it down rather than create a hazardous situation over there. So I came in third, and I got handed to the Coors Light guys that had a really fast lead out, and they got the win.
We congratulate you on third place. Nate Reiss, ladies and gentlemen, third place from Subaru Montgomery. Joining Nate in the street at this time, we would like to welcome Chris Huber of the Coors Light team, second place. Now, Chris Huber, you won this race last year. You've won it twice before that. This is your 4th time out here in the top 3, I believe. Is that true?
Yes, it is.
Now, with 3 wins under your belt here in the streets of downtown Spokane at the Criterium course, did you obviously head into today's race looking for a 4th?
Yeah, obviously, the more times you win a race, the more you think people, are behind you a little bit. And, I wanted to come out and win the race again. It's a great race for me. It's real fast. And David was leading me out, and it was perfect lead out. He kept building his speed up higher and higher, and as we came into the last corner, the marshals were motioning us down, like there was a crash in the corner, back off. And so I hesitated for a second, and, basically the first one through this corner is going to win the sprint in this race. It's actually a sprint into the corner, and, David kept sprinting and just held me off.
Let me ask you this. With 2 riders out on the Coors Light team, did you guys find yourself at a disadvantage at all today?
We thought we were going to be at a disadvantage, but in a flat race like this, there's enough action from the other teams basically to hold stuff together. And hopefully we'll all be okay tomorrow, because that'll be where we're hurting. Some big breaks can emerge there. There's only a couple of us to chase down the big breakaway, so we're going to have our work cut out for us tomorrow, keeping Mike in the lead.
Now, with a couple laps to go, we saw you at the front. It looks as if you were attempting to protect the lead that you had at the front. When exactly did David Farmer come up and join you at the front?
Well, there was a small breakaway of, I guess, about 8 riders, and the field slowly joined onto them, and I was right at the front because I just happened to be taking my turn at the front in the breakaway at the time with 2 laps to go, and that was about when David came to the front, and we're all jockeying for position with 1 lap to go, and then as we hit this corner with 1 lap to go, Dave and I were basically right up front, and he was starting to lead out.
Well, that was second place by a wheel length, a 3-time winner. We congratulate you, second place this year. A fine job. Again, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Chris Huber. Continue to put your hands together as we welcome out on the street his teammate and the champion in the streets of downtown Spokane. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Farmer. Congratulations, Dave. You did a fine job today, and describe a little bit to us about what you did to jump up there and help Chris out.
Well, like Chris said, it was an extreme, kind of a bizarre finish. I was sitting on the Subaru guys because Chris was up ahead kind of messing around in breakaways, and I figured, well, if he stayed away, then I'd try and jump around the Subaru guys. And coming down to the finish, like Chris said, you know, he's won 3 times. I thought for sure we'd get him a 4th. And I let it out with a lap to go, and it got kind of confusing at the finish. I saw Nate came up, and I thought that was Chris, and I thought he had it. And it wasn't, and so I put my head down again, and it was just kind of confusing. So we rolled across 1-2, which is what matters.
So you guys set up for that final turn. Were you leading then, and Chris was on your wheel?
Yeah, I took it from a lap to go. I figured going that far out that a bunch of guys would come by me on the backstretch, but I guess we had the speed just high enough.
And after yesterday's 100-mile Mount Spokane road race, how do you feel today?
Tired.
Congratulations. First place, ladies and gentlemen, David Farmer of the Coors Light team. We would like to have everybody step aside off the podium, and we will reintroduce them. Ladies and gentlemen, continue to put your hands together for 3rd place of the Subaru Montgomery team, Nate Reiss.
Top 3.
Second place again from the Coors Light team.
This downtown Criterium of the Northwest Cycling Classic. David Farmer, the winner. Chris Huber, 2nd place. And Nate Reiss in 3rd place. There they are atop the number 1 stand, David Farmer of the Coors Light team. We'll have some final thoughts on this Northwest Cycling Classic downtown Criterium after this timeout. Back with former U.S. team member Robin Duvall and Rich Waltz. It has been a very interesting day of cycling here in Spokane. I was really impressed with the speed of the men. They never really slowed down the entire 60 laps.
It was a fast race. They were going all out. I didn't see too much lulling around. They were moving. A lot of action.
And for the women, certainly that was a very good race also. Jessica Greco taking 1st place. Sherry Rogers took 2nd. And Linda Brenneman was 3rd place. That was in the women's portion of the downtown Criterium. In the men's, David Farmer held off a late charge from Coors Light teammate Chris Huber. Nate Reiss of Subaru Montgomery finished in 3rd. A wonderful afternoon of racing in downtown Spokane, and we would like to thank our sponsor, Calistoga in Spokane. Sparkling water and juice, Calistoga in Spokane, distributed by our Empire Beverage. Well, for Robin Duvall, I'm Rich Waltz. Robin, it was a pleasure. I certainly learned a lot about cycling today.
It was a pleasure. It was a great race today.
And we look forward to the 1992 Northwest Cycling Classic. For all of us here in Spokane, have a pleasant afternoon.